No, I did it. Well, I had great influences, um, and they were familiar with fighting. What I did is always sought mentorship and always sought leadership because I didn't know how to fight. I needed teachers. I
Hmm.
didn't know how to train. I needed teachers. So I've always sought out the knowledge, move my ego aside, sought out the knowledge. And once I got to a certain level, it was just after my first UFC fight, I realized like I was light years ahead of the rest of the group.
Hmm.
And I was thinking then of the future, like how do I monetize this? Like
Hmm.
if I'm gonna keep winning in a dying sport, where do I go?
Hmm.
If we don't pick up, like what am I gonna do? So I sought out mentors, and one of my mentors was and is now Henry Holmes, and he's this massive entertainment attorney. He's done all these um, giant deals for all these combat sports athletes.
Okay.
And when I brought him the contract that we were all signing, he's like, whoa, 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 like they're taking everything
Hmm.
forever, and you're going to end up with nothing. And
Hmm.
I'd never even thought about that because I didn't even know there was another world like entertainment or residuals or likeness
Sure.
ownership. So I never knew that even existed until I met Henry.
Wow.
And when I told him my plan, I said, "Well, this is my plan. I'm going to beat everybody. I'm going to retire. I'm going to go to Hollywood." He's like, "Well, you're not going to do it in this contract."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and he just changed my mind. So I
Hmm.
realized that I had to approach it differently.
Yeah.
I had to think long term. What am I going to be doing in 20 years? I thought I'd fight until I was 45. Like I was like, no,
Wow.
no,
Wow.
I'm like a super athlete. It just keeps going.
Yes. Yeah.
And he was one of the first people to say, this will end at some point.
Mm.
And what's the exit plan? Where do you go from there? And then what assets do you have to promote you or build you or
Yes.
keep carrying on? And I was like, well, I'm going to do this. And he's like, not with this contract.
Yeah.
So it brought me to awareness that, this new sport was really being maximized for the promoter,
Sure.
and that, our rights were really being, um, you know,
Limited, we'll say.
absorbed. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just being, they're just being taken away.
Hmm.
That contract would never exist in Hollywood or the movie world or television because it's
Hmm.
totally unfair to the
Sure.
athletes.
Yeah.
That was in 1998 when I got
Mhm.
Henry as a mentor. In 1999, I joined the Screen Actors Guild,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
they have,
Yeah.
it's
I
like
I
here's
remember
how
you
it
were like
works.
on Baywatch or something. I'm
Yeah,
like, is that
yeah. They're
Frank
like,
Shamrock? You
they're
know?
like, here's how it works. And I was like, whoa, that's very different than what's happening over in
Yeah.
our industry. But those
Interesting.
things were allowed to continue to grow because, people gained power. They didn't change it. Nobody fought, nobody stood
Sure.
up. And the ones that did stood up like me, they were ostracized and tossed out. So
Hmm.
unfortunately, we still suffer from a lot of that. And the
Hmm.
example is the George St. Pierre and Oscar De La Hoya fight
I
that's
just
supposed to
heard about
happen.
this. What a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
UFC. When I retired on the retirement clause.
Mm,
And
right.
then after I left, they filled that clause to say if you ever retire, your contract stays in place. And then if you ever come back, we continue on with the same contract. So they just own you until forever.
It's
And
crazy. It freezes or
unfortunately,
something. Yeah.
yeah, it freezes and then it carries on if you do come back. And then, so yeah, so the sport has a long way to go in that area. And I'm
Hmm.
hoping to see some progress, in the next years.
Sure.
But yeah, I was very blessed to be in a space where,
Hmm.
I had such value that I
Right.
could negotiate what I needed.
Yes.
And, what I tell all these athletes now, it's like, define yourself now, like
Hmm.
define your brand, define your career, like write all that out.
Right.
So when you go to negotiate or when your manager goes to negotiate, he knows what the plan is. And
Sure.
that's where I had, luck and vision is I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't
Hmm.
know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I found the guy who was like, "Oh, I've done this before.
Yes.
Let's look
Yeah.
at the
It's
mechanic."
amazing. Yeah.
And through that mentorship, that changed everything for me.
Yeah. That's amazing.